There are nights when all we want to do is curl up in bed and watch a horror movie. We all love doing that. But what makes a horror movie even scarier is knowing that it is based on a true story. Such films as The Amityville Horror, Nightmare on Elm Street, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre are all part of Halloween lore. However, one reason these films initially gained popularity is because they loosely imitate real life. After all, what's scarier than a movie plot that has happened to somebody before or is plausible enough to happen to you or someone you know? It's a realization that won't let you sleep easily at night, so consider yourself warned. From haunted houses and possessed dolls to true-life exorcisms, we present to you 10 horror movies based on real-life events. Number 1, Compliance. Compliance, released in 2012, is not your typical thriller. In the realm of cinematic terror, few films strike as deeply as Compliance. It delves into the darkest recesses of human nature, where a young woman becomes a target of both psychological and physical torment in her workplace. Much of the horror depicted in the film is rooted in reality. Can you believe it? A McDonald's waitress fell victim to a cruel prank that spiraled into unimaginable cruelty, sending shockwaves across the globe. As the case unfolded, the details emerged, painting a picture of one of the cruelest hoaxes ever perpetuated. Can you even begin to comprehend the depths of depravity that some are capable of? It's no wonder that the film itself is a harrowing, uncomfortable experience. To think that somebody endured similar horrors in real life is a terrifying reality check. Number 2, the Amityville Horror. Though there is still major debate on whether or not the alleged paranormal events that took place at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York are true, the murders that led to the story being written in the first place certainly are. On November 13, 1974, 23-year-old Ronald Joseph Defoe Jr. got up in the middle of the night and fatally shot his entire family, his parents, Louise and Robert Sr., as well as siblings Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John. He then ran to a nearby bar to report the crime and initially tried to pin it on someone else before he admitted to having committed the murders himself. After Defoe Jr. was sent to prison, the family home was put on the market a year later, which is when George and Kathleen Lutz moved in with their 3 children. The Lutzes would go on to report a series of paranormal activities happening in the house, which is where the story of the Amityville Horror originated. Apparently, the hauntings were so severe they had to escape the house in the middle of the night, only a month after they moved in. Number 3, The Haunting in Connecticut. The Haunting in Connecticut is a film that slipped into the depths of horror history upon its release in 2009. Yet, its tale still haunts those who dare remember it. Matt Campbell, a teenager grappling with an aggressive cancer, his parents, desperately seeking solace, moved to a new apartment closer to his treatment center. Little did they know, their newfound sanctuary harbored a dark secret. A former funeral home teeming with malevolent entities. But did you know this story is inspired by real-life events? It's allegedly based on the experiences of the Snodecka family in 1986. Drawn to Connecticut in a similar plight, they too faced a ghastly haunting while seeking treatment for their ailing son. Their ordeal reached legendary status when they enlisted the help of infamous demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. As the Snodecka family's story captivated the masses, interviews and media coverage followed, immortalizing their harrowing ordeal. And let's not forget the book, written by Ray Garton, chronicling every detail. Number 4, Annabelle. This infamous tale, immortalized in film, centers around a seemingly innocent vintage Raggedy Ann doll. But beware, for appearances can be deceiving. In reality, the horrors began in the 70s when Deidre Bernard, a young nurse, received an innocuous gift from her mother. Little did she know, this doll would become a conduit for unspeakable terror. As Bernard and her roommates grappled with inexplicable phenomena, notes scrawled by unseen hand, the doll moving on its own volition, their once quaint abode transformed into a house of horrors. Can you fathom the fear that gripped their hearts as they realized they had unwittingly invited a malevolent spirit into their midst? In a desperate bid for salvation, they turned to none other than Ed and Lorraine Warren, the renowned demonologists known for their expertise in battling the forces of darkness. Their intervention sealed the doll behind glass, but the terror it instilled lives on in the Warrens Museum, a stark reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. Number 5. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. With a star-studded cast featuring Lorraine Linney, Campbell Scott, Tom Wilkinson, and of course, Jennifer Carpenter in the titular role. The events in The Exorcism of Emily Rose are nearly as terrifying as the real-life events the film is loosely based on. Emily Rose is based on a 19-year-old girl named Anneliese Michel, who died after almost 70 exorcism sessions in Bavaria, West Germany. Michel, who grew up in a hyper-religious family, had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and epilepsy as a teenager. However, things took a dark turn when her convulsions turned into hallucinations and she became to believe she was possessed. Michelle then insisted on being exorcised, and her parents sought the help of Father Arnold Rentz and Father Ernst Alt, who performed a host of exorcisms beginning in September 1975. Anneliese was often in need of restraining, either by holding her down or chaining her to a chair during hour-long rituals. The young teen died on July 1st, 1976, and her parents, Anna and Joseph Michel, along with the clergyman, were charged with negligent homicide as she had stopped taking her medication and was found to be malnourished and dehydrated. The Exorcism of Emily Rose follows the complicated court case of the 4 adults, in which judges had to debate the validity of their faith versus the facts of the case. All parties were found guilty, but were given leniency, sentenced to only time served and 3 months probation. Number 6. The Exorcist. Though this case didn't end as tragically as Anneliese Michel's, the events behind The Exorcist are still fascinating. 13-year-old Roland Doe was grief-stricken over the passing of his Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who taught him many things, including how to use a Ouija board. Following Harriet's death, the boy began experiencing strange happenings, scratching in the wall, seeing water mysteriously dripping from pipes and walls, and most scary of all, feel his bed moving. His parents then sought the help of some Catholic priests, and Father Albert Hughes performed the first exorcism on Doe in February 1949. A few days after the ritual, scratches spelling out Lewis appeared on Doe's body, and his mother took that to mean they needed to leave Maryland to get more help. The family traveled to St. Louis, where they were connected with Father Walter H. Holleran and Reverend William Bowdern from St. Louis University, who agreed to exorcise young Roland. They worked on the boy until April of that year, when he finally revealed the devil possessing him had gone. Decades later, it was revealed the young boy grew up to have a completely normal adulthood. Roland Doe was actually Roland Edwin Hunkeler, a NASA engineer who aided in the 1969 moon landing. His identity was only revealed after he died in 2020. Number 7. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Directed by the legendary Tobe Hooper and featuring a stellar cast including Marilyn Burns, Edwin Neal, and Paul A. Partain, this masterpiece hit screens like a freight train of terror. But here's the twist. Amid its marketing blitz, whispers circulated that the events depicted were ripped from real life. And guess what? They were. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is indeed inspired by the crimes of none other than serial killer Ed Gein. Ed Gein, also known as the Butcher of Plainfield, was responsible for the deaths of several people, as well as the gruesome act of exhuming bodies from local graveyards to fashion keepsakes and trophies from their body parts. It's this macabre aspect of his crimes that serves as the explicit basis for the murderous family in the movie. Number 8. Poltergeist. Steven Spielberg knows how to make a phenomenal movie. However, for 1982's The Poltergeist, the screenwriter had plenty of material to work with. The film is based on the real-life happenings at the Herman House, which took place in the 50s in Seaford, Long Island. One morning in February 1958, James Herman received a phone call from his freaked-out wife Lucille, telling him that strange things were happening in their home. Their teenagers had reported hearing inexplicable popping noises around the house. Later, found caps of shampoo, bleach, and a vial of holy water, all removed from their corresponding bottles. The family dismissed the spooky incidents, with James even believing there might have been a weird chemical reaction that caused the popping. In the following weeks, however, the strange happenings escalated. In one instance, the Hermans even phoned the police, who failed to explain also. The devout Catholics then turned to a priest, but after he prayed over the house, things got more violent, with figurines smashing and a bookcase falling over randomly. The case of the Seaford poltergeist went national, and Life magazine published an article about it. After documenting 70 different incidents between February 3rd and March 10th, 1958, the Hermans vacated the suburban home. Number 9. Black Dahlia. Directed by Brian De Palma and featuring a stellar cast including Josh Hartnett, Scarlett Johansson, and Hilary Swank, this 2006 film might have divided critics, but its roots in reality are undeniable. Drawing inspiration from James Ellroy's novel and real-life events, The Black Dahlia touches upon the unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia herself. Elizabeth Short, a 22-year-old woman, was tragically found cut in half with her face slashed in 1947. The gruesome nature of her murder sent shockwaves across the nation and beyond, yet her killer was never brought to justice. It's a case that remains one of the most chilling and perplexing mysteries of all time. Number 10. The Rite. The Rite, a supernatural horror film from 2011, features the esteemed Sir Anthony Hopkins. It follows a young priest's journey as he trains to become an exorcist in the Vatican. To gain first-hand experience, he must attend real exorcisms and learn on the job. But did you know this eerie film is allegedly based on true events? Yes, indeed. Father Gary Thomas, a real-life priest, documented his experiences in a book titled The Rite, The Making of a Modern-Day Exorcist in 2009. While the movie takes creative liberties, it delves into the intricacies of exorcism and real-life cases. If you've reached this point, it's likely you've been thoroughly terrified by the horrors and revelations from our list. Show your appreciation by subscribing to our channel and giving this video a thumbs up. Additionally, if there are any other horror movies you believe should be included on our list, please share them in the comments below. Who knows, we might just create a second part of this video based on your suggestions. Thank you for watching.